Hello and welcome to the Irresistible Marketing Pod, the podcast that will undiscourage your entrepreneurship journey. I'm your host, Isa Gauchi, your marketing confidence cheerleader and owner of the Isa Messaging digital marketing agency for personal brand rebels and small business baddies such as yourself. My mission is to stress and disappointment-proof your marketing by getting you to fall in love with your own story. You will be shocked at how much faster the money, the clients, the recognition come when you do the inner work to own the power of your own singular, unique, 1 in a billion zillion voice. Today, I'm going to paint a little audio picture for you about how your next sale, your next awesome collab, your next big win is so much closer than you think it is. So, I want you to realize that all it takes is one person. So before you get too overwhelmed about how much you've been working on your marketing and still haven't seen the results you want yet, or you're in a sales slump, you're in a dip, you saw success, and then it feels like something happened and your world got rocked, or your sales stagnated. You're like, I'm stuck at this income level. I'm stuck at this number of clients. My following is locked at this one number and I can't seem to break through. Whatever circumstance it is that is feeling like you're stuck, it's not going to get better. You're just walking against the current and staying in the same place. You know that feeling. I know that feeling. If you've ever owned a business, you know that feeling. So if that's where you are right now, or if you're not there right now, tuck this away in your back pocket, this thought I'm about to share with you. Tuck it away in your back pocket for when you need it. All right. Try on this thought. All it takes is one person. One person to tell their friends how much they love your podcast, and suddenly you have 10 new subscribers. Then picture this. Just 2 of those subscribers, like 20%, they share a few episodes with their network. They bring it up in conversation with their friends when they're like, oh, I just heard this episode that talked about that and gave me this new perspective and made me feel a different way about it. It really helped me. And so they share a few of your episodes with their network. And dang, you wake up to hundreds or thousands of new downloads. And these are people who are listening to you, who you have not yet met. And when they inevitably slide into your DMs to tell you how much your podcast, your work, your wisdom means to them, you won't know how you're connected to them yet. And so then you invite them to some Zoom coffees, and some of them turn out to be perfect fit clients. And some of them know people who would be perfect fit clients. And now you have a calendar full of new clients and an inbox full of payment received notifications, and it all happened really fast. And also on these Zoom coffees, sometimes you'll open the conversation introducing yourself, and they'll be like, I feel like I already know you because I've listened to your podcast so much. Like, you are my accompaniment when I walk my dog. You are the podcast I love listening to when I clean my house. Like, I know the sound of your voice. I just feel like I already know you. And you're going to be like, wow, what an experience to be known for something I created, for my work. And it's going to feel kind of rad, or really rad. So anyhow, some of those Zoom coffees, they become paying customers. Sometimes they are going to be referring out and to their networks other people who would be perfect fit clients. And so your calendar's booked. You wake up regularly to payment received notifications. And all this happened really, really fast. You went from thinking you were stuck, from thinking it was hopeless, to thinking this slump, this stagnation, this growth, this painful period of growth that really tested your resources, your resilience, your emotional capacity, your belief in yourself, your belief in the work, your belief in the calling to do this, to open the business, to serve people. And from that period where it feels like rock bottom, where it feels like it's never going to get better, what if it could turn around so freaking fast? So fast. Point A to point B, real fast. Real fast turnaround. Because all it takes is one person. You just have to touch one person's heart. Provide meaning for one person, and the ripple effects are crazy. The ripple effects are amazing. So, I want you to know, if you're having a hard time right now, this kind of thing happens all the time. So please keep going. Keep showing up for your business. Keep creating. Keep doing the work. Keep talking to people. Keep putting it out there. Keep sharing what's on your heart. Because this kind of thing happens so freaking often. It might be happening for you right now, and you just don't know it yet. Now, I know it's really hard to keep the faith when it feels like the stuckness has been going on for so long. It's really hard, especially if you've been conditioned to have the habit of leaning towards the glass half empty side. If you keep catastrophizing, if you keep spiraling into how could things get worse or disastrous, it can be really hard to change your orientation to, or what if someone right now is connecting their network to my work and they're falling in love and it's about to just turn around? It's really hard to reorient yourself that way, especially if this isn't part of your mental habit, your practice. You weren't trained this way, you weren't conditioned this way. And so if that's you, you're like, I've tried positive thinking, I've tried gratitude, I've tried following some manifestation people, and it's just not my default thought habit. It's not the default of how my mind works. It's not how I'm oriented. I don't know how to shift my perspective to stay focused on the good, focused on the hope, focused on the faith. That's okay. That's okay. Because we can change your conditioning by conditioning a new perspective, practicing new thoughts, practicing new ways of looking at it. Now, this is much, much, much easier to do when you have support, when you have someone that can see into your blind spots, because we have blind spots that, by definition, we aren't aware of, we can't see into, we don't know what's there, who can help catch when we are in an unhelpful perspective, an unhelpful thought loop, when we're missing the signs that it's working, when we are missing historical evidence about how things tend to turn out for us, about what tends to happen when we throw our effort and our heart behind something. So all you need is practice, yes, but also someone to help you practice changing your orientation, changing your perspective, keeping the faith, being encouraged to take ownership of the value of your work, consistently reminding you that you have permission, not because they gave it to you, but because you are allowed to give yourself permission to visualize something like the ripple effects of your work, like I just described in this little thought experiment in this episode. You're allowed to believe that's what's either happening right now or is about to happen for you or what has happened already. You're allowed to give yourself permission to believe in that your work will bear fruit. You're allowed to believe that. You are allowed to own the positive signs, own your effort, and give yourself permission to take pride in what you've done already, regardless of how it's been received so far, or the reaction or lack thereof so far. Now, this is not just to say all I do is tell people to throw work out there into the world and then blah, 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 it's out of our hands. No. Like, we have ways of looking at it strategically, measuring, are we getting results, finding where we can make shifts based on the data. But the truth is, for a lot of folks out there, they haven't made enough of a consistent effort in any one strategy or tactic to have the data yield any meaningful insight. Like, often for entrepreneurs who struggle with marketing, the first hurdle is just to actually do the marketing. Like, do it enough, consistently enough to have anything to measure, right? So this is often the first hurdle I help people with, just the ability to show up. Treat it like an experiment, not a test. Make it so people know they have an offer out there. Make the offer enough times for people to realistically have thought about it enough to be able to say yes or no. And then once we cross that hurdle and we're marketing consistently enough, and if at that point you aren't getting the results you want, then we can start looking at, can we shift our strategy based on what we know? How can we shift our tactics? How can we hone and tweak and experiment and make this more potent and more effective? So it's kind of a yes and, it's a both, but often the first hurdle is just, let's make the offer at all. Let's market at all. But I also just want to remind you, in that vein of, usually the thing I have to help people with the most first is just the ability to show up and make the offer enough times for people to have the opportunity, the option, the awareness to say yes or no. In that vein, if they haven't said yes the first time you made a post, that's okay. That's okay. This takes some time. We know that buyers typically need repetition. They need to build familiarity and trust. They need to be made aware and reminded of the offer enough times to make a decision. Because unless you're selling candy bars or something throwaway, most of my audience, you're asking for an investment. Not that that's bad, but you're asking for a financial investment, yes, but you're also asking for a vulnerability investment often if you are a coach or a therapist or a service provider who works intimately with people. You're asking for people to be willing to make a vulnerability investment in you, an energetic investment in you, a time commitment. We are asking for a lot in exchange to do our magic, and that's okay, but usually we have to think about these things. Like, most people have to think a little bit before they buy a car or decide on a house or where they're going to live. I researched the heck out of schools before I chose my college. You're offering something that has the potential to change someone's life forever for the good, yes, but because this is powerful, deep work we do, we can expect they need to get to know us a little bit. They need time to think about it. They need time to visualize. They need time to, have a process, have a very natural process to come to a decision where they're an enthusiastic yes. Now, sometimes people are impulse buyers. They're just like, I feel it, I'm in, that's great. We've all heard about that happening, and I'm not saying that's not possible, but that typically only happens for people who have practiced and honed their messaging so much that it is so on point, because they've talked to so many clients and ideal clients. They've tried so many things. They've done the work so much that they have such a dialed in marketing perspective that they can just do the messaging and the marketing that hits right away. That is typically not a beginner entrepreneur thing that happens. I usually see this happening with people who have spent years building their audience, whether they decided to monetize it right away or not. But the messaging that gets that immediate sale, where people don't need to have a process to think about it, usually has been built from a lot of experience actually interacting and talking with people and giving them an opportunity to fall in love with the work, to feel like they know us before they even meet us. All right. So if you're realizing, I need some help with that, I need some help keeping the faith so I can keep showing up and making the marketing before I see the results, as is what happens typically in a typical marketing cycle. We go make the offer, we make the offer, we make the offer, and then we get the yeses. And if emotionally that's really challenging for you, the part before you get the yeses, as it is for many of us, it's time to get some support with that. So you can not only know what to do with marketing, like how do I post? What do I say? How do I do a sales page? But also, like, how do I support myself and how do I keep myself focused on the positive, the hope? How do I trust that it's working before I see the results? That is emotionally challenging point in a typical marketing cycle for most people. So there's no shame in the game to get some support so that you aren't quitting on yourself. You aren't sabotaging your own business efforts, your own marketing efforts by getting too stuck in a negativity spiral. So if you want support like that, because boy, is it going to change the game for your business. Not only is it going to help you take the big, scary, vulnerable actions that get you results, bigger results faster, but also it will make it more pleasant. It will make it way more fun to navigate the uncertainty, the period between making the offer and hearing the yes. That doesn't have to be terrifying. That does not have to send you into an identity crisis and leave you questioning the value of your work. There is another way that we can help build your capacity to be capable of an uncertainty, to have trust, to be at ease, to have faith, to be confident, even before you see the results. Like, not only strategically, tactically is that going to get you the business things, the money, the clients, the following, but it's going to be so much more pleasant in the in-between, which means you're going to have a sustainable business, not one that burns you out. So if you want that capacity, if you want the support to get there, not only strategically and tactically, but emotionally, spiritually, well, I would absolutely love to be your marketing confidence cheerleader. So I will tell you a few ways that we can work together. So first, we can work together one-on-one to make sure those big marketing wins keep coming your way and that you have the emotional capacity to enjoy those wins while handling the increased money, acclaim, clients, responsibility, recognition, visibility, and stakes that come with it. Because the bigger you get, the higher the stakes, right? So, to be real with you, often this is deep identity shifting work. You're not an employee anymore. You're not waiting on permission. You are a leader. You are going first. You are telling it like it is. You are prepared to create major seismic change for the better in the world. You are prepared to go out there on your own with a big, bold vision and invite people to come with you. Often takes some updating of how we view ourselves, how we view our work, what we think is possible. And that is what I am here for. You would also be very welcome to join my squad of big-hearted, black sheep, rebel entrepreneurs. The squad is a magical hybrid offer It's part marketing mastermind for motivated, never been done before businesses who want to regularly shoot the moon like it's no big deal. It's also part neurofestive entrepreneurial support group, where we find the systems that work with our beautifully unique wiring rather than trying to stuff ourselves into systems that were not built for us. The squad is also part transformational group coaching as we work through what's blocking us from making the power moves that will get those big results that we want from marketing. The stuff that makes it all that hard work worth it. In other words, you get tons of strategic, tactical, and emotional support in the raddest membership around, where you're going to make some great business friends. And we are of a modest size at this time, so you still get a lot of my direct one-on-one attention and marketing brilliance and personal cheerleading. Now, if you are new to my world and you want to know more about this whole marketing confidence cheerleading thing that I do and how it just might change the whole freaking game for you, I'd love to meet up for a Zoom coffee. This is a no pressure chat about what's going on in your business and to give you some action steps and shifts right there on the call. It's free to book, but just one per person. All right, links for all of that, how to get my one-on-one support in season of support, how to join the squad, or how to just book a quick Zoom coffee with me. Links for all of that are right here in the show notes. All right. Please remember how loved you are and how much I am rooting for you. You have got this. All right. That's it for today. XOXO. Isa.